Thank you for joining us.
Namaste.
So, if you have a towel or a blanket, I thought we would use that today. I'm going to use my smaller, softer blanket, and we're going to go into some, chest openers and looking in, working in various postures that we can really um, spend some time trying to open this front body chest because often there's a lot of rolling of the shoulders. And we'll also play with a bit of baby back bends on the belly to also support the chest opening. So um, we'll start with a simple pose and we'll work further and longer and see how we go. So I hope that works for you or you gain some new insights from this. So thank you. So I have it's a thinner kind of cotton blanket. What I do is, I fold it up, but then once I get to about this size, I do a nice roll. And it's easy to do rolls with a towel. So you can sort of see the thickness of what I have. And you might have something similar, maybe you have something less or more. And that's always something that you can play with yourself. And I'm going to go down to this. You want this below the shoulder blades here. You want to put your head down, your arms to the side. Start with the feet on the floor, the knees bent, and bring your arms shoulder height. And then just start to bring attention to your breathing. And if you're with your bent knees, you can also soften the pelvis to the floor. And you can also press the elbows on the floor and try to really roll those shoulder blades down. And then extend the arms out and see if you get a little bit more length through the top of the collarbones. Sometimes I think of the anatomical term before I remember the common term, so I'll try to use common language. And see if you can start really softening and evening out your breath. And then if you feel like you're okay in the lower back, you can slowly slide one leg out. You can press through the heel and try to get the length and then just soften. And then slowly slide the other leg out. Press through the heel and soften. And then we'll do a few breaths in this position. If this is too much on your lower back, please go back to knees bent, feet on the floor. And then if you have your legs straight, go ahead and bring the feet together and see if you can really press through the feet and engage the legs. So pressing the heels, flexing at the ankles, toes up to the ceiling. And so here we're connecting into that whole lower body to support this chest opener. So it's a little bit more active. And then see what happens when you inhale the arms up to the ceiling. So the fingers are pointing to the ceiling here. And then you can slowly notice what happens as you bring the arms overhead. Now, it may be that oh, you feel like you're getting good traction here or a good stretch here, you can stay with the arms a little bit in front. Or if you're able, you can start to bring them towards the floor in your ears if you don't completely lose the pose or don't have shoulder issues. And then another arm variation here is clasping at the elbows and bringing those towards the floor. Again, if you can't bring them towards the floor, just hold them, you can hold them in front of the head a little bit. If you can bring them to the floor and really get more stretch in the armpits. And if you're holding the elbows, change elbow crossing. And really keep bringing that breath in. And then release the arms. Slide the feet up. And then roll to your side. And actually, for me, that feels kind of good. So I think we'll add something here that I hadn't thought about before. So I've got my hands on each other, and I'm just going to slide that hand while I roll slowly, trying to feel each part in that back body till I open up again. And then I'm going to slide the other hand across, which helps my knees come down, roll to the side. And then inhale, coming back through, opening the arms, the knees are up, and then threading the other hand across the collarbones to the other hand, rolling over. We'll do that 2 more times, once to each side. Or actually, probably should only do it 1 more time, right? Sliding over to the other side. But I'm going to do it 1 more time just so I'm facing you. And then when you're here, see if you can find where your head is down to the floor and you slowly walk the hands in so the lower body starts to stabilize, and then you roll up to sitting. And you might need to have your knees higher. It might not be comfortable to sit in easy crossed legs, but if you can, and if you need, you can take this and put it under your sit bones if that helps. In fact, I'll demonstrate that. So you take this, put it under your sit bones, place the hands on the side of the blanket or towel, and then see if you can sit here for a minute and feel that width across through the shoulder blades. And you'll probably notice that it really opens the front body, but a little bit of pressure through the arms. Now, everybody's going to be different with their arm length. I'm pretty even between my arms and legs, but some people will sit on something and be able to put the hands behind them and get the palms on the floor. So I'm not like that, but some people are. So you can, I'd like you to engage the arms, but then keep the shoulders from coming up here. And then bring the knees up and change the crossover so you can feel it on both sides. So engaging that. And then come back to the first side. And sitting here, you're going to interlock the fingers. Remember which fingers on top. Bring them in front of you. Then inhale overhead. See if you can still maintain that chest opening. Exhale slowly the arms down. Looking at the crossover, make sure you do the opposite crossover. And then inhale, the hands in front of you. Inhale, overhead. And then release the arms down. Bring the knees up. Change your crossover. And then this time we'll do Guru Dasana arms. So bring the right elbow under the left first. And see the elbows in front of the chest. And this is going to bring more space between the shoulder blades. But at the same time, if you crunched in the front of the body, you would, kind of distort it. So see if you can maintain that spread, that width across the collarbones. And then you can maybe lift the elbows up a little bit. And then release that side and then swing the left one underneath. And again, see if you feel the stretch across the back between the shoulder blades and see if you can maintain that opening in the front chest. And then maybe you get a little more stretch by lifting the elbows up just slightly. And then release that. Bring the arms down. Lift the knees up. And if you need a little bit of a wiggle them back and forth, you can do that. Or if you need to pull them into the chest a little bit to release any tension. And then move the blanket. Might need it again, but just move it for now. Or actually, all kinds of ideas. So put the blanket on the back of your mat. And put your toes in front of it. And then you're going to use this for heel support. So maybe you need to walk the hands out a little bit more and come into a downward dog. And then really press those heels down into the rolled blanket or rolled towel. And then inhale, come into plank. Can you still feel that open across the front of the chest? And then come to upward facing dog. Again, can you feel that chest open? And then come back into downward facing dog. And then bring the knees down, bring the big toes together and come into Adho Mukha Virasana. Now, if you feel like it, you can take that blanket right into the hip sockets here, and you can pull on the side and lean forward. Now, we can also do this with a belt, because this, I can't bring my head as low here. Then inhale, put the blanket behind again. Bring the hands down. Tuck the toes into downward facing dog. And then inhale the plank. Exhale there. Inhale the upward facing. And exhale into downward facing. And then
inhale that right leg into three-legged dog and slowly bend it between your hands. And then bring the hands on the thigh. The first way we're gonna do this is we're gonna bring the right legs in front. We're gonna bring the right arm behind and just hold the forearm here and see if this position gives you that width in front of the shoulder blades. And then perhaps you can lean back into that position and lift the chest towards the ceiling. And keep straightening that back leg. Maybe the heel goes into that blanket or towel. Couple of breaths here. And then slowly bring the hands down next to the foot. You can swing that leg through into three-legged dog and then come back into downward dog with the heels on the blanket. A couple of breaths here. Now sometimes people use rolled mats for their heels, so that's always another option for some of these poses, is just rolling a mat. Now inhale that left leg to three-legged dog, bending that knee, coming between the hands, and so your back heel can be pressing into that blanket. And then inhale, slowly come up, bring the same arm as knee and back to the hip here, holding onto the forearm. See if you can feel that width between the shoulder collarbones. And then see if you can get a little more lift in the chest here. And really straighten that back leg, bending into the front leg. And then bring the hands down. And the left leg comes to three-legged. You can come back into downward dog, and you always have options. You can go in big toes together, knees wide if you really want to make it more energetic. You can inhale into plank, exhale there, inhale to upward dog, and then exhale to downward dog. And then inhale that right leg up, bending the knee and bringing it through your hands. Now this time you'll want to place the heel, the back heel on the floor, so the toes are forward and the heel's back. And this time you're going to straighten the legs and again bring the hand with the bottom leg and hold it with this arm. So I'll turn around just to show you what I mean, just like we did in that last position. And see if you can use that to keep that collarbone space open up. And then for a little variation, see if you can bring those arms to the side. And bring them wide. And then you can bend the front leg. Hands down. Three-legged dog. Both feet down and the heels on the blanket. Inhale. The left leg up, bending between the hands, placing the right heel down, Coming into triangle. And this is what the arms look like to start with. And then you can take them into the other variations. Opening wide, and then bending the front leg, hands down, left leg up to three-legged dog, and then coming into downward dog. Staying there, big toes together, knees wide. Or you can inhale, plank, exhale there. Inhale to upward dog. Exhale to downward dog. A couple of breaths here. Then inhale the right leg up into three-legged. Bending between the hands, placing the heel down, and this time you're going to keep that thigh bent. And again, try that hand position. Let's see, yeah, it'll look like this. So it's the same arm as bent leg. And then you can bring the arms like we did in triangle. And then bring them around and bring that right leg into three-legged dog, and then come into downward facing dog. And then inhale the left leg up, bending it between the hands, keeping that bend in the front leg, and coming up into the arm position where we're keeping the chest open, collarbones open. Inhale the arms up. Variation. Coming back around. Coming through three-legged dog. Then coming into downward dog. Couple of breaths here. Or you can do inhale to plank, exhale there, inhale to upward dog, exhale to downward dog. And we'll all go down with the knees and go into big toes together, knees wide for a few breaths. Then we'll come down onto our belly, and we might use that robe blanket for something. Get a bit, but so keep it nearby. I have to kind of re-roll mine. I'm just going to put it there. So we'll have the little rest where one hand's on top of the other and the forehead comes onto the hand. And then the forearms come under for Sphinx pose. And you can really try to bring the hands down and it's like you're pulling your chest through, and the legs need to be working here and really pull the chest through and roll those shoulder blades down. A couple of breaths here.
tend to live our lives in flexion more, so we often need to counterbalance that with poses that open our chest and a little bit back bends. And then change your crossover. Place the forehead here. And what you'll probably feel is your heart rate beating a little faster. And then bring your palms underneath your shoulder blades. We'll go into a little bit of cobra. So really engage those legs and then slowly start to lift the chest off. And you can lift the hands off to feel whether you're using the body to do this and not just the hands. Then you can place the hands down and give a little more push. A couple of breaths here. And then slowly come down. Make that pillow with your hands and have a couple of breaths here. Now there's lots of ways to go with the next pose, but if you can at all, can you bring your arms underneath your body so that the palms are down and your abdomen is on your forearms? See if you can do that. If you're really struggling, you can try to bring the fists there. And if you're really struggling even more, you can bring the arms next to your side when you try this. So the ideal way is getting them underneath. I don't know if it's ideal. What it does is it's great, pressure into the arms really stretches them. And if you've got your chin forward, you can slowly lift the right leg up. See if you can keep breathing there. And then bring that leg down. Lift the left leg up. Slowly bring it down. Now when you lift the right leg up, you're going to put the other foot under the calf or the shin or the ankle, or you can try for the thigh. Just don't roll away. You want that hip to still roll down to the floor. And then release that side. And then lift the other leg up with the foot wherever it can be. And you're trying to roll the hip down to the floor. And come down. And if you can't stay there any longer, that's fine. If you want to try the harder version is lifting both legs together, but you can bring your face or your mouth towards the floor. So if you're up to that, bring the face to the floor and slowly lift both legs up for a couple of breaths. And then slowly come down and roll the arms away, bring them out front and have a couple of breaths here. And you might feel that you got a bit of a massage in those forearms, in those wrists perhaps. After I broke my wrist, it felt important to do this position a bit, or this posture a bit. So now bring your forehead down and bring the hands down next to you. And then you can really engage the legs here. We're going to do Salambhasana. So slowly lift the legs off the head and the chest and the arms like a rocket ship. Or maybe it's kind of like a bird. A couple of breaths here. If you want to stay a little longer, you can inhale, try to lift the chest even higher. And then slowly come down again, making a pillow with your hands. And this is where your rolled blanket can come in handy, and you can bring it right under your hips. This will give you a little bit of leverage. Now, you know, if there's too much discomfort, don't bother doing this. Bolsters can be useful here as well. So what you're going to do is, can you bring your heels towards your buttocks and hold on to either the feet or the ankles. So bring the heels in again. If you can hold the feet, and if this is as far as you can go, that's okay. If you can hold the ankles, that's great. And then you just start to kick the feet up and shins to the wall behind you. You can feel how that really opens the front of the shoulders. And then inhale, lift the chest up. And see if you can kick up again and lift the chest. And then release down and place the hands for a couple of breaths. And we'll do one last one for the road. So bring the heels towards the buttocks. You can hold the feet or hold the ankles. And you know, sometimes it's really hard to do this because we're not trying to bring those knees wide. We're trying to bring the shin, the top of the thighs parallel here. And then you're slowly going to kick those feet up, lift the chest, and see if you can kick them up even more and lift the chest even more. And then slowly release, press through the shoulders, coming back into a bit of a child's pose. And actually, yeah, you can use your little thing for head support. You can make it higher if you need to. You can fold it in on each other. And then you can slowly roll it up. And of course, you have lots of options for feet up the wall or feet in the chair or anything like that. But another option is to take that rolled blanket, and you can always, like when you go down, fold the end over for a little bit of a pillow. But you can come down like this, and you can create a little pillow. If it's long enough, you can tuck it under your head and bring the arms out to the side, and then have support along the spine and do Shavasana this way. And really, this is a little bit of a Shavasana position if you want to focus on your breath. There's a couple of options for your finishing today. So as you settle into whatever practice you're in, you could, if you're laying across that blanket or towel, perhaps you can feel the widening of your spine from each of those vertebrae, and feel that circling, the way that the rib cage circles from the back of the spine and around to the front. So maybe you can feel the lower ribs from the back, like the mid-thoracic, as it spirals around, circles around to the front. And you've got those floating ribs, as they call them. Then you can move up a little bit higher and feel the ribs from the spine circle around as they connect into the lower part of your breastbone or sternum. And see if you can feel this rib cage further up the spine as it wraps around under your armpits into that chest, that sternum, that chest bone, breastbone, as it's really giving protection to your vital organs, your heart, your lungs, and lots of your intestinal organs, kidney, spleen. And then see if you can feel further up how your shoulder blades are just softening and sliding away from the neck. Feel those collarbones widening out to the tips of the shoulders. And then the collarbone notches. See if you can feel that whole area soften. Your face is softening back to your ears and the back of the head. And just bring awareness to the softness in your breathing. As you fill and empty your breath cavity, your torso. Perhaps you notice the breath in your nostrils As you inhale, the cool air comes in, and you exhale, the warm air moves out. And then slowly begin to reawaken your body, bringing a little stretch into your fingers, your toes. Perhaps you do a nice stretch with the arms overhead, stretching that spine. And then rolling to your right side, you can slowly with ease come up to sitting. Have a beautiful day. Namaste. And may you breathe with more and more ease every day. Thank you. thank you for watching and joining us. Namaste.